It's Friday and the board is back. It doesn't get much better than this. All right, what did we talk about yesterday? So we compared asexual and sexual reproduction. Why is one better than the other or one worse than the other? So first, asexual reproduction. Remember, you see that A, it means without, so they are not having sex. One organism is required to produce identical offspring and they don't need meiosis. So if you look here, it's just itself. Pretend that purple dot is an organism and it makes some offspring, and they are both purple, so they are both identical to the parent, and they're going to have offspring that's going to be identical, and they're going to have offspring that's identical. They are all perfectly identical. We talked about different types of asexual reproduction. So first we talked about binary fission. Remember that bi means two and fission means it's just getting split into two, so that bacterial cell is just going to split. Then we have budding. Pretend that's a hydra. I don't even know what it looks like, but it's gonna grow a little bud, just a little buddy right on its side, and that bud is going to grow and then eventually break off into a brand new hydra that is, again, completely identical. We also talked about spores. Those are those little teeny tiny things that come off of some plants and some mushrooms that's hiding up underneath the mushroom. They can withstand those harsh conditions like the wind and the rain and make a new plant. All right, last is that fancy schmancy sounding vegetative propagation. That's when you just cut off a piece of a plant and replant it and it grows a new plant. And again, that plant is genetically identical. That is key. Do not forget that. We talked about the advantages and disadvantages of asexual reproduction. Advantages, or the benefits, the good things about it. It's quick, doesn't take very long. They don't have to spend all that time finding a mate or a partner to reproduce with, and it doesn't require those complex structures like the sperm and egg cells, or honestly, the extra energy of reproducing. So what are the downsides? There's no genetic diversity or variation. They are all genetically, or their genes are completely identical. That means that they have a lower chance of surviving an environmental change. If something changes in their environment that goes after, like in this case, something purple, they're donezo. So those are the disadvantages. Okay. Coming over to sexual reproduction, this is what humans use, this is what most animals use, this is what a lot of plants use. This is when two organisms will both contribute a gamete or a sex cell, and they're going to create a new offspring that has completely different DNA. So let's take a look here. You've got, again, these circles represent organisms. You've got a white organism and a just solid blue organism. They are, first off, not related in any way before they reproduce, so they are not genetically identical. Yeah, definitely not related. That's illegal. And then they are going to reproduce to create an offspring that is genetically different. So this little guy has stripes. And they're going to reproduce again with something that is not closely related, so they do not have shared DNA, and they are going to reproduce another offspring that is genetically different. The DNA is different, and this goes on and on and on. So what are the advantages? They do have that genetic diversity, the differences in the genes, and because of this, they are more likely to survive a change in the environment. The bad things, it takes a long time. It's different for different animals. For humans, it takes 9 months for a full pregnancy. Elephants, it's like 11 months or something like that. Like it takes a while. You also have to find a mate, which takes some extra time and energy, and it requires those complex structures like the ovaries or the testes, and it takes a little bit more energy to reproduce sexually. All we have to do in this table is fill in what I pretty much just told you. What are some advantages and disadvantages of sexual and asexual reproduction? So, sexual advantages, we have that genetic variation, and also they are more likely to survive if the environment changes. environmental changes. I cannot type and talk at the same time. It's confusing to me. Okay, some disadvantages. It takes longer, that's for sure. It requires more energy, and it also requires those complex structures. Oh, I almost forgot. You also have to find a mate. That takes some time for some people. Also, asexual advantages. What do we have here? It is quick. They don't need to find a mate. Okay, some disadvantages. There is no genetic variation, and they are less likely to survive an environmental change. I think I hit everything. Looks good to me. So we're good with the table. What are you going to do the rest of this lovely, lovely Friday? Of course, you are going to show what you know, like always, because what's the point of knowing something if you can't show it off? So all you're going to do in this table is read the scenario. It's going to give an example of some form of reproduction. All you got to do is type on the right whether it is asexual or sexual. That's pretty easy. Then you are going to go back to like the full assignment and click on asexual versus sexual reproduction Venn diagram and complete that. You are going to want to open it up with Cami, kind of like you did last week, because it's in a worksheet and you can't type on it without doing it on Cami. Then once you're done with that, come on back, answer these 3 expert questions because you're now experts. And as always, do not forget your exit ticket, and it is going to be on the Google form. Okay, that should be it. If you need any extra help, of course, we always have this stuff down here to help you, and I am right here to help you out with any questions you may have. Once you're done until Monday. Have a good one.